The school bus was loud, full of laughter, jokes, and shouting, but none of it felt happy to Malik and Amir. They sat at the very back, quiet, heads down, bags on their laps. Every day was the same. "Look who's here," one boy shouted. "The Jungle Kids." More laughter followed. Another boy threw a piece of paper at Malik's head. It hit him, but he didn't move. Amir clenched his fists. His face turned red, but he stayed silent. He always stayed silent. For his brother. "Hey, do you even speak English?" Someone shouted again. "Or do you still talk to animals?" The boys laughed louder. The driver heard it, but said nothing. He never said anything. Just like the teachers, just like everyone else. At school, things didn't get better. Malik was good at drawing. He always carried a small notebook. In class, he used to draw in the back pages when he finished his work early. But one day, the class bully, James, grabbed his notebook. "Let's see what the little monkey drew today," he said, waving the book in the air. "Please," Malik said softly. "Give it back." James tore a page out and laughed. "This your family? Oh wait, are those trees your real house?" More laughter. The teacher looked up, frowned, then went back to writing on the board. Amir didn't laugh. He stared at James with eyes full of fire, but Malik touched his arm. "Don't," he whispered. So Amir didn't. He wanted to. Every day. But he didn't. At lunch, they sat alone. No one sat with them. Some students said they smelled bad. Others said their skin was too dark. A few whispered that they were dangerous because they never spoke. "They're weird," someone once said, probably hiding something. But the truth was, they were hiding pain. Every night after school, they came home tired, not from studying, but from staying quiet all day. Their mother, Layla, welcomed them with warm food and soft hugs. She always asked, "How was school?" And they always said, it was okay. But she knew it wasn't. That night, Malik sat on the floor, his broken drawing page in front of him. He tried to fix it with tape, but the tear was too big. He quietly wiped a tear. Amir sat beside him. "We should have told Mom," Amir said. "She'll worry too much," Malik replied. "And we promised Dad we'd be strong." Amir looked down. "But Dad's gone." Malik didn't speak for a moment. Then he said, "But his lessons are still with us." Later, their mother came into the room. She saw the torn paper. She saw Malik's red eyes. She saw Amir's tight fists. She sat between them and pulled them close. "I know," she whispered. "I've always known." The boys froze. "I hear the names they call you," she said softly. "I see the way you walk into the house, and I feel the storm inside you, Amir." Amar looked away, ashamed. "I wanted to hit them," he said, "just once." Layla nodded. "I wanted to hit people too, when I was young," she said. "But your father taught me something." She stood up and walked to the closet. She pulled out a small box and opened it. Inside was a photo of their father. A younger version of their mom stood beside him, wearing a black martial arts uniform. "He trained us both," she said, holding the photo with care. "Not just to fight, but to control the fight inside us." Malik and Amir stared at the picture. "You boys are stronger than they know," she said. "But strength doesn't mean punching. It means choosing when to punch and when to walk away." That night, the twins didn't sleep much. They kept thinking about the photo, about their dad, about the pain they carried each day, and about the promise their mom made before turning off the lights. "One day," she said, "one moment will come, and in that moment, you'll choose, and that one choice will change everything." The twins looked at each other in the dark. Neither said a word, but both knew that moment was getting closer. The next morning, the school looked the same. Same yellow walls, same noisy halls, same eyes watching the twins like they didn't belong. But something had changed. Malik walked with his head slightly higher. Amir's steps were slower but stronger. The pain was still there, but now they remembered their father's photo, their mother's words, and something deep inside was waking up. During math class, the teacher asked a question no one wanted to answer. Silence. Malik, the teacher said. Malik looked up, surprised. Do you know the answer? Malik nodded. He stood up. His voice was calm and clear. It's 84. The teacher blinked. Correct. A few students turned their heads. Some even looked shocked. That was the first time Malik had ever spoken in class. But the moment didn't last long. From the back, James smirked. Oh, look, he whispered loudly. The jungle kid learned math. Laughter again. The teacher ignored it. Again. Malik sat down. He didn't cry. Not this time. Later that day, in gym class, the boys were told to play basketball. Amir didn't like basketball. He liked balance, focus, and speed. He liked control. But gym class had none of that. James and his group always played rough. They'd trip others, shove, and call names. Today was worse. Malik passed the ball. James grabbed it and slammed it to the floor. You don't belong here, he said. Amir stepped forward. His eyes locked on James. His fists started to close. Stop, Malik said quickly. It's not the moment. Amir stepped back. The coach blew the whistle. Boys, over here. But James walked away laughing. You act strong, he said. But deep down, you're just scared. Amir stared at him, breathing hard. Inside him, the storm was growing. At home that night, Amir sat on the edge of the bed. He looked at his hands. Why can't we just fight back? He whispered. Malik sat beside him. You know why? No, I don't know why anymore, Amir said. They keep laughing. They keep hurting us. No one stops them. Why should we be the ones staying quiet? Malik didn't answer right away. He stood up and walked to the center of the room. He took a deep breath, then slowly moved into a martial arts stance. Because control is what makes us different, he said softly. Amir watched. Malik's arms moved with grace and strength. His legs shifted smoothly. It looked like a dance, but stronger. Malik finished and stood still. Then he looked at Amir. You don't win by punching, he said. You win by making them see who you really are. That weekend, their mother woke them early. No words, she said. Just follow. They walked behind her to an old building. The door creaked. The floor smelled of dust and sweat. But inside was peace. Mats lined the floor. Wooden dummies stood in rows. Framed pictures of their father hung on the wall. This was your father's school, she said. The twins looked around, wide-eyed. He taught here before he passed. And now, I will teach you. For the next few hours, they trained, together, side by side. No one was there to call them names. No one laughed. There was only silence, strength, and movement. They practiced breathing. They practiced balance. They practiced control. Over the next few days, school still hurt, but something felt different. Malik didn't look away when people laughed. Amir didn't clench his fists as tight. They still didn't talk much. But now, they knew something others didn't. They were strong. Not just in body, but in heart. But then came the project day. Each student had to present in front of the class. Malik had spent days working on his art for it, drawing beautiful, colorful images that told the story of his father and the training they now followed. When it was Malik's turn, he walked up slowly. He showed his drawings. He spoke clearly. He talked about strength and peace. Some students actually listened. For the first time, some even clapped. But then, as he walked back to his seat, James stood up. Nice pictures, he said loudly. Too bad art won't help you in the jungle. He reached over and ripped one of Malik's pages. Malik froze. The class went silent. The teacher stood, but said nothing. Amir stood. His fists were shaking. His breathing was fast. He looked at James, and in that moment, everything nearly changed. But Malik stepped between them. He looked straight into Amir's eyes, and softly said, "Not yet." That night, Amir sat on the rooftop. He looked at the stars. Malik joined him. "I wanted to hit him so badly," Amir said. "I know," Malik replied. "How do you stay calm?" "I remember Dad's voice. I remember Mom's eyes. And I remember what we're becoming." Amir nodded. "I just hope," he said, "that when the moment comes, we'll be ready." Malik placed a hand on his brother's shoulder. "We will be." The next school week started with heavy rain. The sky was dark, the halls were louder than usual, and the twins could feel something in the air, like something was coming. Amir felt it first. He didn't sleep well. His dreams were filled with running feet, laughing voices, and fists he never threw. Malik was quieter too. Even his sketchbook stayed closed. They had stayed silent for too long. In the hallway, James and his group stood like usual, laughing, pointing, waiting. Malik and Amir walked past them, heads down, backpacks tight on their shoulders. Just as they passed, someone kicked Amir's foot from behind. He stumbled forward and dropped his bag. His books spilled out. Laughter. James stood behind him, arms crossed. "Oops," he said. "Did the jungle kid trip?" Malik bent down to help, but Amir grabbed his wrist. His eyes were wide. He was breathing fast. Malik whispered, "Not yet." But Amir's voice trembled. "Why? Why do we always let them win?" Before Malik could answer, a paper hit his back. Then another. Crumpled notes, drawings, ugly faces, and worse words. A crowd had started to gather. Some students laughed. Others just watched. The teacher nearby turned and walked away. That was the last push. Something inside both boys cracked, not with rage, but with resolve. They didn't shout. They didn't cry. They simply stood tall. Amir picked up his book, dusted it off, and walked straight to James. "Say it again," he said calmly. James blinked. "What?" "I said." Amir stepped closer. "Say it again." James laughed nervously. "What's your problem?" "My problem." Amir's voice stayed soft. "My problem is that you think silence means fear." James rolled his eyes. "You're not scaring anyone." Amir didn't move. But then, James pushed him. Hard. Amir stumbled back. The crowd gasped. And Malik dropped his sketchbook. In one sharp second, Amir grabbed James's arm mid-push and twisted it, not to hurt, but to stop. The same move his mother had shown him. James tried to punch. Amir ducked, stepped aside, then stopped. The crowd held its breath. And that's when Malik stepped in. He didn't hit. He didn't shout. He simply took out one of the crumpled drawings, opened it, and held it up. "This," he said, his voice shaking but clear, "this is what you think we are." The paper showed a jungle, 2 stick figures with messy hair and dark skin, with the word dumb written under it. Malik tore it slowly. "This is not who we are," he said. The hall was silent. James looked around. No one laughed now. No one supported him. Even his own friends looked uncomfortable. A teacher finally arrived. But too late. "Is everything okay here?" she asked. Malik turned to her. "Now you care." She didn't know what to say. The twins picked up their bags and walked away. They didn't run. They didn't look back. But the whole school saw them in a different way that day. That evening, their mom sat on the couch, holding the torn drawing Malik had brought home. "You finally stood up?" she asked. "Yes," Malik said. "Did you fight?" "No, we didn't have to." She looked at both of them with proud, teary eyes. "You boys are becoming more than I ever dreamed." The next morning at school, something strange happened. In class, when Malik answered a question, no one laughed. When Amir walked into the gym, some students moved aside with quiet respect. Later that day, a new boy joined the school. He looked nervous and unsure. When he passed by James's group, one boy muttered something mean. But before he could speak again, Amir stepped in front of the new kid. He looked at the group, then looked away. He didn't need to speak. They said nothing. The new boy smiled shyly. Malik joined them. And just like that, something had shifted. But the storm wasn't over. Later that week, a school event was announced. A martial arts demonstration was planned for the assembly, open to volunteers. Malik and Amir looked at each other. They nodded. The time had come. The day of the school assembly finally arrived. The air felt heavy with anticipation. Students lined the hallways, whispering, laughing, and glancing over their shoulders. But there was something different in the way they looked at the twins now. No one dared to throw insults. Not today. Malik and Amir stood in front of the gym, staring at the door. Their hearts beat fast, not from fear, but from something deeper. The nervous energy of knowing that this day would define them, that this moment would finally change the way everyone saw them. "This is it," Amir said, his voice barely above a whisper. Malik turned to him and gave him a small, reassuring smile. "We've got this." For weeks, they had trained in secret. At home, in the old building where their father once taught martial arts, and late at night in their room, they practiced everything their mother had taught them: balance, precision, control. But most of all, they practiced standing tall in the face of doubt. Today, they would show the world exactly who they were. Inside the gym, the lights were bright, and the audience buzzed with excitement. Everyone from the school was gathered: teachers, students, and even a few parents who had come to watch. A sense of nervousness filled the air, but it wasn't just from the twins. Every student who had ever laughed, mocked, or belittled them now found themselves unsure of what was about to happen. The principal stood at the front, smiling. And now for something very special. A martial arts demonstration by two of our very own students, Malik and Amir. A hush fell over the room. The twins walked to the center of the gym, their footsteps echoing off the walls. They stood silently at first, facing each other. Malik caught Amir's eye. A silent promise passed between them. They weren't here to prove anything to anyone except themselves. The moment was now. The first move came with a loud snap. Malik took a step forward and executed a quick spinning kick, hitting the wooden dummy with a loud thud. Amir followed with a series of rapid strikes, his movements smooth and precise, as if his body was part of a well-rehearsed dance. The audience sat in stunned silence. No one had ever seen the twins move like this before. With every move, the twins demonstrated not just strength, but a kind of fluid grace. They weren't just fighting. They were telling a story with their bodies. Every punch, every kick, every twist was a message that they were not the jungle kids everyone thought they were. They were strong. They were skilled. They were unstoppable. The performance built in intensity. Malik and Amir moved like shadows, one step ahead of the other, their movements perfectly synchronized. There were no mistakes, no hesitations, just power and control. And then came the final move. Amir stepped back, holding his breath. Malik nodded, signaling the last part of their routine. Amir charged forward with all his strength, his fist aimed at the air. Malik ducked under his arm and flipped him over his back in one fluid motion. Amir landed gracefully on his feet, and in the same moment, Malik spun to face the audience, his arms raised high. A deafening silence followed. No one spoke. The gym felt like it was holding its breath. And then the first clap came. It was soft at first, unsure. Then another and another. The sound grew, filling the room. Soon, the entire gym was clapping, cheering, some even standing. Malik and Amir stood there, catching their breath, staring at the audience. They didn't need to say anything. The message had been sent, but the real change came afterward. And for the first time, Malik and Amir truly believed it too. As the assembly ended and the students filed out of the gym, something was different. The mocking whispers had stopped. The looks had changed. No one called them jungle kids anymore. No one dared to laugh. As they walked through the hallway, James stood by his locker, staring at the twins. His face was flushed, and for the first time, there was no smirk, no laugh. "Nice moves," he muttered, barely looking at them. Malik and Amir didn't answer. They didn't need to. They had already said everything with their performance. Later that evening, they sat on the roof of their house, staring at the stars. "Did we really just do that?" Amir asked quietly, his voice filled with disbelief. Malik nodded slowly. "We did. And they saw us. Really saw us." For the first time in their lives, the twins felt something new, a kind of peace. Not because they had defeated anyone, but because they had finally shown the world who they really were. They weren't the jungle kids anymore. They weren't the quiet, bully boys in the back of the room. They were more than that. They were fighters. They were strong. And most importantly, they had nothing left to prove to anyone. The following days were different. The twins no longer walked through the hallways with their heads down. They didn't need to hide anymore. The boys who had once laughed at them now avoided eye contact. Teachers who had ignored their silence now nodded to them with respect. It wasn't perfect. The journey wasn't over. But for the first time, Malik and Amir felt like they were finally in control of their own story. That night, their mother sat down with them as they ate dinner. "I saw the performance," she said softly. "You boys were incredible." Malik looked up at her, a small smile forming on his lips. "We did it for us." Their mother smiled warmly, her eyes full of pride. "I knew you would." It was a week later, and the buzz around Malik and Amir hadn't died down. They were still the talk of the school, no longer the silent twins, no longer the jungle kids. Instead, they had become a symbol of strength, of silence that spoke louder than words ever could. But the real test was yet to come. It was a Friday afternoon, and the school's annual talent showcase was in full swing. Students from all grades had lined up to perform. Dancers, musicians, artists. Everyone was ready to show their skills. Malik and Amir stood near the back of the gym, watching the performances. They had been invited to perform again, but this time, it wasn't a martial arts demonstration. It was something more personal. They had been asked to speak. Amir stood up first, a microphone in hand. The gym fell silent almost instantly. He paused for a moment, looking out at the sea of faces. "Hi, everyone," he started, his voice steady, though there was a hint of nervousness. "A year ago, I never thought I'd be standing here in front of all of you. I thought I was just the quiet kid in the back, the one no one paid attention to." He glanced at Malik, who gave him a small, encouraging nod. "Some of you may have thought the same," Amir continued, "that there was nothing special about us, that we were just the twins who didn't speak much." He looked down, remembering all the days they had spent in silence, hiding their strength, hiding who they truly were. "But we're not invisible," Amir said, his voice growing stronger. "We're not the ones you should ignore. We're not just the jungle kids." He looked up again, making eye contact with a few students in the crowd. James was sitting near the back, arms crossed. The twins exchanged a brief glance. James' eyes flickered, but he didn't say a word. "We all have something to give," Amir said, his voice resonating in the gym. "And the moment we stop hiding and start showing who we really are, when we stop letting anyone define us, everything changes." The room was quiet. Malik stood up next, his hand slightly trembling as he took the microphone from Amir. The room was still silent, waiting for the twins to speak. For a long time, we thought that being quiet and staying out of the way would keep us safe. Malik began, looking out over the students. But silence doesn't protect you. It only keeps you from being seen. It lets others make up their own stories about who you are.